Today's video is unique as it is not only about ants. A couple of days before I started putting this together, my grandmother gave us lionfish for dinner. I was a little bit freaked out at first, but it ended up being alright to eat. After the meal, I realised that the lionfish heads were still there, and had the idea for this video. As you can see, I have placed a bucket with stones over the meat to ensure that no cats steal it. On the 5th day, I observed that the bucket had been overturned and 2 of the fish heads were missing. Shredded pieces of kitchen roll formed a trail towards the creek. This was probably the work of a stray cat. On the 7th day, the fish heads had been reduced to bare bones. I couldn't have done any more recording even if I wanted to, as I was on a flight the very next day, but I felt the experiment was done anyway. Previously, the wood ants wouldn't go near the fire ants, unlike in this video, where they were actively engaging with them. My hypothesis is that these fish heads were too protein rich for the wood ants to leave alone. In my opinion, the most puzzling event that happened during the recording of this video was the disappearance of the fire ants. It seemed a bit odd that they didn't come back after the first day. If you have any idea as to why they did this, please leave me a note in the comments. And now, I'm back in England with lots more ant species, equipment and different experiments for me to discover and use. Follow the story for loads more interesting content here on the Cypriant Ant Channel.